Today I want to talk about why you absolutely need to detox this spring. Hi, welcome back. I'm Dr. Angela Yeagley from Sage Health TV. So most of you have probably heard of detoxing. Springtime is a great time to start thinking about this. We have new energy, renewal. Most people are like, more sun, at least if you live in the Pacific Northwest, you can go outside. But today, so I definitely want to mention some good detox tips, but I really want to dive into really why detoxes are beneficial because of all the things we get exposed to in our environment. So, sorry, I'm going to take you down a little bit of maybe a more, serious path because I think it's good to be educated, of why we need to take times in our life to step back and really pull things out of our environment, pull things out of our, what we're exposed to with our bodies, take a look at what we're using and kind of cleanse all of that in addition to doing what we normally think of as like a good detox, right? So when most people think of like, I'm doing liver herbs or I'm sweating more, things like that. Yes, all of that is good. So first let's dive into what are we being exposed to? This is some of the driver, like why should you be cleansing on a regular basis? So first is going to be thinking about skin. So skin, we absorb things really, really well through our skin. And so I just want to give you some examples. Say for instance, like brands that you might think of like, Burt's Bees or Aveda, really good. Well, they actually have started putting aluminum like in their ultra moisturizers. So, checking on things like that. So a resource is the Environmental Working Group. They have a website called Skin Deep. You can dive in and see where all your products, like what do they have in them, including like hormones and other chemicals. So we want to get all of that out. Then we want to look at chemical levels. So we all have chemical exposure. Now, if you're using like herbicides or pesticides, in your home, or around your home, or maybe you have a neighbor that does it, like you're getting a little more exposure. Our cities do it to control mosquitoes, things like that. So those things also, we get them through our skin, and we can absolutely help to get rid of that. We can cleanse that, actually. We can sweat that stuff out. And some people are going to have a little more exposure. Some people are going to have difficulty getting it out. There's ways to check that, which I'll be talking about. Next would be heavy metals. So this is also dependent on your history, your current exposure. And so things like that would be like, I've had people tell me, I used to play with mercury balls, and I had a lead ball that I would actually move around the room and play with. What? Oh my gosh, if you have mercury filling, something like that, you absolutely have heavy metals in your body. And really, even regardless of that, everybody does have exposure. Some people, say I have people who grew up near uranium mines, and so you're going to carry that in your body, and actually you can detox from that. Or if you were in the military, I tend to see a lot of uranium and cesium in those people, which are radioactive elements, but we can detox from those actually. So we want to get levels on that, and then we want to create a plan for you. Excuse me. Next, we're looking at food. So there's a lot of debate at whether or not is it worth it really to have organic, versus just eating whatever's on sale or whatever's easy. And the research around it is absolutely. So there is, to make it a little easier budget-wise, actually there is something called the Dirty Dozen. And if you just get those 12 foods, or like strawberries and apples, for instance, grapes, if you get those organic, you're already ahead of the game. If you just focus on those, because those tend to be like super saturated with pesticides. So you're getting heavy doses if you're not eating organic. And then there's I think it's the Clean 10. I don't think it's dozen, but those are actually like avocados. You're pretty safe, or oranges, like pretty safe getting them non-organic because you wash them, peel them, and so most of that pesticide, most of that exposure is on that peel, and so you just get rid of it, and then it becomes a very a clean source. So check those out. All you have to do is Google that. I always like to. This is not fun. I'm going to pick on McDonald's a little bit, but one reason why a lot of people people, are integrative or functional medicine, don't do fast food, a lot of those places use chemicals on their food to preserve it. So they can last a long, long time. You can search that too, of finding McDonald's hamburgers and fries that somebody just wrapped and left and it's good years later. That's not normal. Maybe great for a zombie apocalypse or something like that, but not good for us on a day-to-day basis. So please avoid that. And then we're looking at cookware. So making sure you're not doing aluminum. Things from China can actually have cadmium in it and lead. Especially for my people who maybe have been diagnosed with cancer, serious autoimmune or Parkinson's, where these chemicals really are stressing their body. I have them go through and cleanse their cupboards of taking that stuff out and getting rid of cheap cookware and replacing it with things like stainless steel or stuff made in America from a company, cookware that or dishware that doesn't have those things. And then finally looking at what's in your house, and sometimes people have mold exposure. If you see it, it's definitely a problem. If you smell it, it's definitely a problem. Do you have lead paint? Most people don't, but there are checklists that you can find for clean homes. So this is a lot, and I am not trying to depress you. You're like, oh, I never, forget it. That's it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to die anyway, But the research shows that, if you take simple steps to kind of just clean these certain areas up, that really it does contribute to longevity and less risk of chronic illness. And so this is one major reason, since we see a lot of chronic illness, that prevent it. Don't wait till the chronic illness shows up and you have to do all this stuff anyway. So a couple books I really like. There are a lot of clean home books. One is Clean and Green. It's 101 steps to find all these natural products. One on chelation is called Bypassing Bypass Surgery. It's all about chelation. It just shows how it helps the cardiovascular system, but a great read. A lot of good detox books out there. I really like Dr. Mark Hyman and Dr. Mercola have a lot of great ones. And then let's talk about testing. So if you're suspicious of these things, say you're I do have mercury fillings. I did grow up in a farming community where they were constantly saturating the area with pesticides, or I have a moldy house, so any of these things. So let me just talk about a few things to consider. So first would be if we want to check chemical levels. There's a test by US Biotech called the Environmental Toxin Panel. Secondly, if we're looking at heavy metals, it's Genova. I really like Genova's Urine Comprehensive Toxic Element Panel. Both of these are in the $100-something, so super accessible. Next, I really like, there's a panel I like called the NutrEval, and it looks at vitamins, minerals, amino acids, but it does chemicals and heavy metals too. So that's a really good one. And then we use another one called it is Great Plains Laboratories. It's the mycotoxin or mold panel. So this is just an example of things we can do for you specifically, and then we can get a baseline, and then we can measure the cleanses and measure the things that we're doing to get these levels down. So now I know this is all about how you should find out what's in your body, and not really so much about the detoxing. But so wrapping it up, I do want to just quickly talk about detoxing. We have a great resource in-house. It's a video done by Dr. Anastasia Jones here, who did a wonderful overview of how to start a spring detox cleanse. Everything is there. We're going to link it here in this video. And then I'm also super excited to say that we're going to be doing a detox bundle where we're going to combine offering for infrared sauna, sweating, oxygen therapy. It's a type of ozone treatment which really boosts your body, looking at a combination of liver supplements and detox binders. And so we're going to create a nice bundle and detox. So to get access to that, just give us a call or get on subscribe to our email list because that will be going out. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please reach out. We would love to create a personalized plan for you and detox for you. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time.